What is up, awesome people, and welcome back to another Wi-Fi Wednesday shenanigans! Alright, so for tonight's shenanigans, we are bringing back one of the previous theme teams that I did, and that is the NU Trick Room team, since I didn't get to fully show off this team since this was up against Pimp Knight's priority team originally. So I thought, since I didn't get a chance to show off how this team works mechanically, I thought I'd bring it back from the dead and try it out once again. So this was from a live stream over on Pimp Knight's channel recently up against Blue Ivy. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the shenanigans and see how this went down. So overall, I have to say this was a really fun battle. Came down quite right down to the wire as well again. Very similar to how it went down with Pimp Knight's team actually. So we got the Murkrow lead here. I'm like, oh, this is not good, because if they've seen this team and are familiar with this team, they're going to know it's a Trick Room team already. And at the same time, the team I'd used beforehand was also a Trick Room as well. So I predicted the taunt there, and that's exactly what the Murkrow went for. It was a taunt, so I'm like, this is probably going to be like taunt, toxic, feather dance, roost, encore, I think it gets. All these shenanigans it can pull off with a prankster. So I went for the knockoff is Everlight. So I'm like, right, so Murkrow isn't as threatening with the Everlight. Can't take moves as well. And it's got the foul play. So I'm like, yeah, I think I know what this set is going to be. So I went for the foul play on, like, originally it was going to be my Haunter. So I swapped into my Abomasnow here. So I'm like, it doesn't really matter what they're going to swap into. They're not going to really like a Blizzard. So they swap into their Ninetales here. I'm like, I completely forgot they had a Ninetales. So I went for the Blizzard here. I was actually thinking about going for the Water Pulse there, which is one of the moves my Abomasnow has. So that swaps in, takes about a quarter damage there, hail damage as well to do a little bit more residual damage. Unfortunately, that does get healed by the leftovers. So because I'm choice specs, I'm like, there's not really much I can do here, so I'm going to have to swap out and go into my Claydol. So it doesn't matter what this Ninetales goes for, my Claydol should be able to take it really nicely. So they go for the 5-spin there, so I'm like, 5-spin, protect, toxic most likely, and maybe rest or something to try and get their health back up. Alright, so leftover recovery there as well. They're going to withdraw there because there's not really too much that the Ninetales can really do to me. And they're just going to go into the Murkrow again, thinking that, yeah, this is going to be a Trick Room setup Pokemon once again with other status moves that they can try and taunt me with. So I get the Trick Room back up once again, which is great. And I don't really have too much to hit Murkrow with from here either. I know I've got Gyro Ball on this set, I do believe, and I've got Explosion, I think. So there's not really too much I can do. Gyro Ball won't do too much to the Murkrow because Murkrow is not going to be speed invested, and at the same time I don't really want to kill off the Claydol just yet. So there's a Toxic coming for the Murkrow, which is going to poison my Malamar, which really doesn't make too much of an impact on the battle because I did have Toxic Orb on the Malamar, which is going to be boosting my Facade. So once I get a super power up, I can then go for Facade and do a lot of damage. So they're going to swap there and go into their Franklin the Torterra. So I'm like, this is definitely going to be max health, max defense. It's something that Torterra runs quite a bit in PU, and so I'm so sorry there, my English started to fail me once again. So that tanks the superpower extremely well, considering I am a brave natured Malamar. Max attack, max health. Alright, so poison damage there, and I'm like, I'm going to knock off the leftovers this Torterra has, but it actually has the citrus berries on it, so I'm like, that's good. I can at least know it's not going to be doing in recovery now. Goes for the Stone Edge. I take that really well thanks to a +1 in defense plus max health, and then follow it up with a Facade, which I'm like, yep, that's definitely a fainted Torterra. So Torterra finally goes down, which is great, so that means one less defensive wall I have to worry about. Now from here, the toxic damage is starting to rack up a lot. The Trick Room does go down, and I've got a choice here. I'm like, I either swap out, risking some damage done to another Pokemon, which is kind of good that I didn't swap because I did go for a fake out there. And at the same time, I'm like, if I don't swap, I can get a free swap when I allow Malamar to faint. So I actually did have another way of bringing that Malamar back, which was the Healing Wish or Dino, so I could have done that, but I just thought it might be better just going for a free swap there, so I could bring the Haunter in and then go for the Trick Room, set that up, and then maybe go for like a Sucker Punch or something while I still got max health, let this Pokemon bring me down to my Sash, and then go for the Destiny Bond. Alright, so again, I've got the Hindering Speed, 0 IVs. I knock off the Lumberry on the Ludicolo with knockoff. They go for the Giga Drain, thinking I may have gone for the Destiny Bond there. Broke my Sash regardless, which was good, so I'm like, well, I know they're probably going to try and one-shot me now, thinking I may not go for the Destiny Bond, but I am running the Destiny Bond on this team, so it was pretty much, I was going to take damage from an attack the first turn, set up the Trick Room, and then go for the Destiny Bond when I'm on my Sash, and then take the opposing Pokemon out. which is kind of what happened here, just took a little bit longer to happen. So the inedible finally happened, and the Ludicolo goes down to the Destiny Bond. So at the same time, I kind of feel that was a good move as well, because Ludicolo can be quite annoying to go up against if it has anything like Rain Up, like the Rain Dish or the Swift Swim. Can be quite annoying just in general. So the Ninetales goes for the Protect here, thinking I'm going to go for the Fake Out, and I actually went for Close Combat there, thinking like they may have gone double swapped or something, went into something to tank the Fake Out. But at the same time, it's a bit risky swapping anything into Hariyama, because a Close Combat to any Pokemon, regardless of their defensive role or not, is not going to like it at all, especially with a Guts boost up there and Brave Nature, max attack, max health as well. So the Ninetales is going to go down there. As I said, not too much they could have really swapped into. I know Dewgong would have not liked that. Murkrow would not like that at all, since there is no Everlight on that either. And now they're going to the Furret. I'm like, alright, there's a few things Furret can do here. They could go for Retaliate there. However, they went for Dig. I'm like, okay, that's cool. They're going to miss my attack, but at the same time, they still know I've got some Pokemon I can swap into to just completely negate their attack. So I'm going to swap my Hariyama out there and go to my Claydol, which means I'm immune to the Dig this turn. Levitate kicks in, and yeah, no damage at all there. And at the same time, if I still got Trick Room around, I can still set that up. So the Shadow Claw comes my way, deals a lot of damage to my Claydol since I am special defensive, and I can once again set up the Trick Room. So in the way, that was kind of good for me, because it still allowed me to set up my Trick Room, which means I can swap out here and then go into another Pokemon. So I'm going to go into my Ordino here, thinking they're going to go for another Shadow Claw or something. Even if I do go for a D, I can still resist that really well. So I'm going to Mega Evolve here into Mega Ordino. So from here, this is one of my weird Ordino sets. I think I got Size Shock, Fire Blast, and Healing Wish on this, other than Trick Room as well. So I go for the Fire Blast here, thinking they may have actually gone into the Murkrow or something. So that does a lot of damage to the Furret, regardless of having no special attack investment in the Ordino. At the same time, Life Orb damage is slowly taking down that Furret. So they're going to swap out there and probably go into the Dewgong, I think it was. Yeah, straight into the Dewgong here. I actually went for Size Shock, thinking, yeah, they're probably not going to swap in the Murkrow, but at the same time, obviously, it was in the back of my mind that they were probably going to swap into the Murkrow as well. So Aqua Jet there isn't going to do too much for the Mega Ordino. As I said, max health, max defense, relaxed nature on that one. Size Shock slowly doing some damage there to the Dewgong. They're going to swap out there and probably, yep, now go straight into the Murkrow. So they're thinking here they can probably try and taunt me or something, or try and tank my moves, because I know I can't use Size Shock from that moment. Fire Blast has a chance of missing, plus I'd reckon this Murkrow maybe max health, max special defense, Everlight to make up for its defense or something, Feather Dance to make up for no defensive EVs. Alright, so Toxic Me, which is probably the best thing they probably could do to the Mega Ordino, but as I said, not really much of a concern for me, because I can't Healing Wish whenever Ordino feels like it's not doing much for my team. So they're going to go for Roost there. Roost their Murkrow back up to full health. And this is where I pull off the Healing Wish. I'm like, there's not really much Mega Ordino is going to do for my team. So I may as well sack it now, bring someone back up to full health, and try and facade some type of status into the Murkrow. So I go into Hariyama here, because I can try and facade it to make it look like I'm going to go for a Fake Out or something. Make them go for a Roost or something, and then I can just go straight for the Close Combat. Alright, so I go for the Fake Out here. They didn't actually do anything. I thought they might have gone for swapped out or something to try and resist it. So Flame Orb kicks back in. They go for the Roost. I'm like, that's probably not the best idea there. But at the same time, as I said, there's not really too much they can do there. So Close Combat's going to be super effective on the Murkrow. That's going to do a lot of damage. As I said, Everlight got knocked off on turn 1, which means this Murkrow is completely defenseless at this point in time. So, ow, that bird just got its wings clipped. So Hariyama takes a bit of burn residual damage. I think at this stage there is only Dewgong and the Furret left. So the Furret comes out. And I'm like, I'm going to swap out here, because I'm predicting, like, this thing has to have a Retaliate on it. I'm feeling it's got Retaliate. So I'm going to go into Claydol here, and it does have the Retaliate. I'm like, that is so sweet that I didn't stay in, because I don't think my Hariyama would have liked that at all. I would have been left with a small amount of health. Burn would have actually killed me. So Life Orb damage there on the Cupcake. Did lose my Claydol, unfortunately. So I go back into Hariyama here. So I'm like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to swap, thinking I'm going to go for a Fake Out, or are they just going to stay in? Regardless of what they did, it was probably my best play to go for the Close Combat. Both of their last Pokemon are weak to Close Combat. And they can just swap in the Furret as well to try and get the Retaliate boost going once again. Because as we know, it's Life Orb, so I can go for Retaliate the first turn and then just go for whatever afterwards. So Dugong goes down, which as I said, leaves their Furret as the last Pokemon. So I've got to think here, I'm like, I've got one more Pokemon left, which is the Abomasnow, which is going to be handy because I can swap that in, get Life Orb damage when the Pokemon attacks, I can get Hail Up as well, which is extra residual damage. And I can do a lot of residual damage to this Furret, switch in the Hariyama again, fake out the Furret, and that's going to be game. So that's how far ahead I was thinking is in regards to like my turns and all that. So there's the Retaliate, which takes out the Abomasnow. Life Orb damage is going to just bring it just above the red there. Hail will bring it down into the red. There we go, and that's definitely in range of the fake out kill. So Hariyama comes back in. This is my last Pokemon by the stage as well. There goes the fake out, and that's the game. And GG, that was definitely a fun battle indeed. So, yeah, that's how the NU Trick Room team works. And as I said, that whole Ordino set, the whole point to it is set up the Trick Room, and if it's very late game, Ordino's still around and it feels like it's not going to pick up any weight at all for the team, Healing Wish off, and I can actually bring back a Pokemon and give them a second chance to either be like fully revitalized, full health again if they're down in the red or status or something. As I said, I could have done that with Malamar as well. I could have kept it in the sidelines or something. Healing Wished on the Malamar, brought it back up to full health, got rid of its Toxic Orb, but it kicked back in again when it's on full health, and then did it all over again. But at the same time, I did make the decision that Malamar would not have made too much of a difference on the battle since, even though 2 Pokemon were weak to Superpower, it still was relying on this Trick Room quite a bit, and if I don't get any superpowers up, Malamar doesn't really take its hits very well. But that's what I thought anyway. That was kind of like an on-the-spot decision that I had to make. Which kind of comes into the whole point where I keep saying, like, the best thing that you need to learn to be good at any Wi-Fi battles is how to read your opponent. If you can't read your opponent, it doesn't matter how good your team is, if you can't read them, you'll find that you're going to struggle against a lot of players who know how to read their opponents. But that's just one of the main advices I give to a lot of players. Learn to read your opponents, learn what moves Pokemon can learn, and that will suffice better than anything else. One of the best things you can take away for Wi-Fi battles. But anyways, I've dribbled on enough. Hope you guys enjoyed this Wi-Fi battle. Next week, I am actually not too sure when I'm uploading. I do have an LC battle that I said I was going to go up this week, but I thought I might take a break with LC. I've done 2 weeks of LC, did an NU this week, and I've got an RU team in the works that I'm trying to get a good battle for. I've actually got a UU team coming in the works as well, so I've just planned that yesterday, so that could come up next week if I get a battle for that, or if I'm happy with the team. But at the moment, I've got a feeling the UU team maybe next week, as I said, if I get a decent battle. Otherwise, it'll be the RU team, or at the very worst, it'll be another LC battle. So we'll have to see what next week's battle is. But until then, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!